The debate was a mess, but I want to focus on some of the scariest portions of it. And I don't just mean the one that you think I'm going to go to. We're going to get to that. But first, I want to go to this, a line that I feel like is getting ignored because of the white supremacist stuff that came a little bit later. Take a look at this about what should happen on election day.
To stay calm during this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest, and will you pledge tonight that you will not declare victory until the election has been independently certified? President Trump, you go first.
I'm urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. I'm urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair election, I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll tell you what,
does that mean,
from a common sense,
does that mean you're going to tell your people to take to the street?
It means you have a fraudulent election. You're sending out 80 million ballots. They're not equipped to, these people aren't equipped to handle it, number one. Number two, they cheat.
Okay, so that was a couple of things in one little section that he specifically told the thugs and goons that follow him to go and intimidate voters. And they're already doing that, by the way, way in advance of the election. They're trying to break into like the offices where some of the prep is being done for elections, and he thinks that's great. And then also, if there's tens of thousands of votes manipulated, and what does that mean? How would he determine that? By his whim, we have to imagine. He can't go along with the election. Well, he's already saying they're being manipulated. He said at the debate they're being manipulated. So I guess he already can't go along with it. So get ready for all of that. None of this should come as a surprise. I'm sure it doesn't to JR. I'm sure it doesn't to the audience. It's just a reminder that this is how the election is going to be run.
Yeah, he's been giving us these signals for months now about how he's going to approach the election. And literally, I mean, since 16, when he said he wouldn't accept those results either, except now he's dug in deeper and there's more things on his record. There's more corruption that has been exposed throughout his entire presidency. So there's more on the line this time. So he's even more committed to this not accepting of any of the results. And John, this is why the Damage Report is the leading morning show on the TYT network. It beats all the rest of the morning shows on the network, because you'll go through these parts of the debate that were very, like, they were specifically horrific, but obviously, and I think with good reason, the refusal to accept or to condemn white supremacy definitely took the night as far as the most disgusting line. But this was overlooked in real time. After he went through that, by the way, I saw the edits that went through that. He spoke on this for a solid minute about how he wants his foot soldiers to take to the streets and watch the polls. Let's switch those two words around. Poll watchers, you mean, right? So, because the thing we do when we have people that are associated with a specific party or a specific candidate go to specific polling locations where you consider people are voting fraudulently, or maybe people you just don't want to vote. Which kind of people have those been in American history? Watch them, intimidate them, stand there, because Trump supporters, they show up there with shirts and ties and pamphlets to hand out to people, which also you're not supposed to do. But they'll show up there with guns. And they'll be there chanting, and they'll scowl, and then they'll look down at people. So these are all the things that they're trying to do to intimidate voters. Again, something else that is not allowed in this country. But as a moderator who apparently has been covering politics for all these years, his father is well renowned for it too. And Joe Biden, who's been in politics for 50 years, neither one of them said, "What did you just say, Mr. Trump? What did you just say? You're urging 7 different times in a sentence your supporters to go out and take to the streets." Well, Chris Wallace did in his defense, did say, "Are you telling them to take to the streets?" But that was never heard. He should have asked him again. Are you telling them to take to the streets, go to polling locations, and watch people vote to determine that they're doing things the right way? And if you see that there's all these ballots getting tossed and mishandled, you're gonna do something about it. How would you see it? Ask, all we need is 3 specific questions, because he just throws such loads of garbage out there that you have to say, wait, how are you going to determine that all these things have been done wrong? You said if you see it, how would you see it? Are you going to monitor the election? Are you looking at votes, Mr. President? Which one? We need to ask these questions, because everything that he just set up and said he's going to do is blatantly, obviously illegal and anti-American, and definitely against our voting process.
Yeah, I agree and disagree. So I'm glad that he asked the questions that he did and got Trump to say this stuff, because I think it's important for everyone to know where Trump stands on this. Getting more into the specifics of what Donald Trump will do, how he'll determine if it's fraudulent, I don't actually think that there's much of a point to that, because it's all nonsense, all of it. Like, what it's just going to give him time to focus more of the debate on spreading conspiracy theories that you can't trust the vote, which I feel like is what he wants to do. I want the people to be warned that he's not going to accept the results. And then I think we need to prep for that. That's the important thing. I don't know what more he really would have revealed. And I was a little bit frustrated, honestly, with the way Chris Wallace kept sort of implying, what are you gonna do about it? I get if he means like, are you going to tell your supporters to calm down and accept the results? That's one thing. But I don't like the framing that it's up to Donald Trump to do anything about it. He doesn't get to decide what votes we count and what votes we don't count. The Supreme Court isn't supposed to decide. They did in 2000. That's not supposed to be the way it is. It's supposed to be we all vote, and the one who gets more votes is supposed to win. So I didn't really love that framing, but it's important for people to know that. And yeah, we're gonna get to other scary stuff, but this is pretty dark.
Small last point on this for me then. If you ask him these questions, he has to answer them, or he has to not answer them, and then he's put on record saying he has no details behind all the craziness that he's throwing out there. Because if you just let him steamroll and throw all these things out there, it becomes common knowledge in a way. It's false, but then now him calling for poll watchers, specifically from his supporters, to go and watch polls and intimidate people. If it's not challenged to say, do you know what you just said? If we just let him say it, then people start going, yeah, poll watching is a normal thing. It's supposed to happen in this country, because we buy into craziness. If nobody says, hey, in case we forgot what country we like to say we are, poll watching and poll intimidation are in fact illegal in this country. It's not supposed to happen. Now, we know the Republican Party's been pushing for those guidelines to be taken down and just disregard them from now on, like they do with everything else with the voting rights. But it just needs to be pointed out what he just said, because he says so much, people just kind of accept it.
Yeah, and the obvious response everybody says, what would you think if you saw a president doing this in literally any other country? What would you think about that? Telling his, lunatic gun-wielding militia members to go and intimidate people. What would you think about it?
It's a terrorist organization. We'll get to that soon, though.
Yeah, and really fast, just to mention a few other things, because again, I get that like we're gonna transition soon to the big thing, but all of this incredibly important. The fact that multiple times asked about climate change, he says, I want the cleanest water. That's horrifying to me. The fact that, and I can't believe nobody's talking about this one, Joe Biden said that between now and the end of the year, it's estimated that we'll lose 100 to 200,000 additional people. That's the belief about how this thing might play out. If we just all wear masks, we could cut that in half, okay? We can save 100,000 people. That's what Joe Biden said. And Trump began screaming, no, it could do the opposite. It could do the opposite. And there was no follow-up. There's no headlines that the president appears to be implying that mask wearing could kill 100,000 extra people between now and the end of the year. Maybe that's not what he means. His brain is just, as I've said before, it's a big rolled up ball of belly button lint. I don't know what he actually meant, but that seems like the fairest reading of what he said, among all the other lies about the pandemic. The fact that he was still saying, I think masks are fine, he said. He implied that if Joe Biden had been president, 2 million people would have lied, because he's grasped onto this number that is supposed to be the estimate for how many people would have died if the government had literally not even known that the pandemic was happening. He's implying that that's the standard that he should be held against. The whole thing was a horror show from top to bottom, as everyone seems to acknowledge. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.